had the urge to record, but I also had the urge to sit outside. So here we are doing both at the same time. I feel like before I can fully jump into this topic, I need to give a little bit of my own backstory so that you understand where I'm coming from. I'm originally from Salt Lake City, Utah, and I've been living abroad in Zurich, Switzerland for the past 15 years. I was raised in the Mormon church. I moved abroad at 18, married into another Mormon family. I stayed Mormon until I was 27, and now I'm 33. And I'm happily not Mormon anymore. But lately, I've been feeling really drawn to incorporating some Western elements into my fashion. And I've kind of started listening to country music again, which after I moved abroad, I could not listen to country music. It was really kind of, I don't want to use the word triggering, but it made me feel a certain type of way in my body, and I didn't like it. So I didn't listen to country music for the last 15 years. And I wouldn't even say that I visited the US that much during my time of living abroad. I've had a really not good relationship with the US since leaving. And so I found it very curious that kind of out of the blue, I felt like I wanted to incorporate some Western elements into my fashion, into my home decor, into the music I listen to. But around 2 years ago, I felt this pull to start going to the US more and to really examine my relationship with the US and with American people and with the American within me. And last year I did a road trip through my home state, which is Utah, and I found that road trip equally beautiful and equally heartbreaking. And since that Utah road trip, I've been really drawn to doing research on the honest history of how Utah was built and how Western America was built. And it's really brutal and it's really sad. And it's given me a lot of feelings towards my own ancestors of they did some really disgusting things to the native people, to the lands. And it's been interesting even when it comes to religion. I chose to leave the Mormon church, so how can I feel connected to my ancestors who essentially built the Mormon church? As far as I understand, the ancestors on my father's side were some of the pioneers who came to the area of Utah, Idaho, and built up those areas, built up the religion there. But this past week I had a mushroom journey that gave me so much clarity on this. And I just want to share it because I feel like so many Americans are in this weird spot right now where we're realizing we're not proud of our heritage. We're realizing we're not connected to our ancestors. And do we want to be connected to our ancestors when they did horrible things? In this mushroom journey, I really connected with the way that my ancestors were feeling as they were traveling west and as they were settling down. I could really feel it in my body, the way that they had so much fear within them, the way that they craved safety, and they thought that safety had to look a very specific way. So they came west and they had this really strong arm mentality. They saw the lands and the deserts as harsh and barren. They saw the Native Americans as savage. Everything felt like a threat, and everything was to be conquered, essentially. They had this very deep and intense mindset of it's either you or it's me. They felt that they needed to meet this new land and these new humans with this energy of ferocity. And I saw in this journey that this ferocity and this fear is continuing to live in my body to this day. That when I do something as an American, that I think I need to conquer it. That abundance only exists through what I create, rather than abundance just existing. It just exists. It just is. The desert is inherently abundant. Those lands and those people did not need to be met with ferocity and fear. But because of the fear that my ancestors held, that's the energy that they came into this with. They felt they needed to strong arm this place and these people in order to survive. They didn't see a way where they could come into this place with these people with softness. And I got to experience a really beautiful softening within my body where I got to choose that I don't need this survival in my body anymore. That I don't need to be the top of the ecosystem. I got to see and experience in my own body stepping into the ecosystem there that already existed without the belief that I need to take control of it, without the belief that I need to strong arm it, without the belief that I need to conquer it. The ecosystem already existed. The flow of abundance already existed. It's just that as humans, we get to participate in that ecosystem. And I think this is the way that the natives were already living, and it was beautiful, and it created flow. And in this journey, I had a group of coyotes that was like coming to me over and over. And at first, when I was approaching with fear and I was approaching with ferocity, they approached with that same ferocity. But when I chose to soften and see myself as a part of the ecosystem and see that a group of coyotes doesn't just kill for no reason, they kill to be nourished. They kill and they don't waste what they've killed. Then I was able to soften to a degree where I genuinely thought, if I were somehow eaten by a pack of coyotes, it would be an honor to nourish them because there actually is no morality in the flow of an ecosystem. There is no right or wrong. It just is. It just flows, and it's abundant and it's beautiful. So I think as an American, there is a way to tap into the strength and the rebellious nature of our ancestors, while also being really present with the fact that we disagree with the way they did things. We disagree with the way that they've treated the lands and treated the people who lived on the lands before them. I don't think that we have to inherit our ancestors' worldview in order to inherit their love of the wide open skies, their desire for freedom and safety. We don't have to inherit their domination in order to inherit their hardworking attitude, their craftsmanship, their music, their love of the mountains and the rivers. My ancestors looked at the desert as a thing to conquer, and I choose now to look at the desert as a place, as a relationship. My ancestors believed that the lands had to be useful, and I now believe that the land already knows how to be itself, how to create abundance, how to flow. Hi. I'm here editing this video, and I just wanted to make it super clear that when I say that I disagree with what some of my ancestors did and I'm choosing to let it go, for me that also means going really deep into the harm that they did. For me that means understanding what the native tribes were of those areas and getting really real with myself of what happened to them in big ways and in small ways. There was a Mormon militia that would cover their faces and dress up as natives so that they could kill handcart parties and not have to take the blame for it. There were horrific things happening not only to the natives, but also to the local animals. There used to be thousands and thousands and thousands of bison. So I just want to invite you to not just denounce the decisions that your ancestors made, but dive into them and dive into the effects that those decisions had. Okay, thanks. Bye. So now I'm excited to dive more into my American ancestors and where exactly did they live? Where exactly did they travel across the plains? Did they keep journals? As someone who lives in a foreign country and felt like I needed to reject my Americanness in order to assimilate to this new country, I feel really excited to explore my Americanness and pull the pieces out of it that I want to pull and let go of the things that my ancestors did or felt or believed that don't serve me anymore. And I think as Americans, it's a really beautiful time to do that because we don't just have to accept the way things are. Gaining a fuller understanding of what happened and how things happened and what the effects of those things are still things that we're living today. I think from that place, we can make beautiful change. I think from that place, we can become more grounded in who we are and where we come from. I would love to hear what you think of this, especially if you're American, but even if you're not. I think being American is really complex right now. And I think honestly, it always has been, but I think we've all had, Americans and non-Americans, we've all had these rose-colored glasses towards the US for so long. And I think the shadows have come to the surface, and I think it's a gift because it's an invitation to create change. And how do we create change? Inside of each and every one of us. Thanks for listening.